Super Bowl 60 is fast approaching, and you can bet on every moment of Super Bowl glory. Every trip to that end zone matters more than ever, as the Seahawks and the Patriots are going head-to-head. And DraftKings Sportsbook has all your favorite ways to bet touchdowns for Super Bowl 60. The next great Super Bowl touchdown is coming, and you can bet on every moment of glory. New customers, bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the code SONNEN. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Love the thrill of live betting? Bet live on star player props and in-progress games right as they happen. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports and have a shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. New customers, use my promo code SONNEN and bet just $5 on any wager and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. That's promo code SONNEN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Jorge Masvidal came out. He said that Ilia Topuria is the Michael Jordan of MMA. He then qualified that statement and said, I want Ilia to go up, beat Islam, and if he gets 3 belts, so that would be 45, 55, and 70 is what Masvidal is referring to, then you cannot deny his greatness. He would go in front of everybody. He would go in front of Jon Jones. He would go in front of Georges St-Pierre. He would go in front of Khabib. This is Jorge Masvidal talking. Now, is that accurate? I see it the way George sees it. I think that Ilia Topuria right now, and if it wasn't for paperwork, competition-wise, he is a 3 champion. He's a 45-pound champion, 55-pound champion, and BMF champion. Competition-wise, I realize that doesn't count, but it was only paperwork that stopped him from being a simultaneous 45, 55, and BMF champion. So Masvidal's saying if he goes up to 70 and beats Islam, wow. I see it Masvidal's way. I would say the same thing. Now, I've made this argument for Alex Pereira. I said if Pierre is to go to heavyweight and he is to capture the heavyweight crown, that we will lose our ability to have conversations about who the GOAT is. We will no longer argue and talk about who GOAT is. We will just refer to Alex Pereira if he was to capture those 3. Now, with that said, is that totally right? I'll give you an example. The GOAT, when I was growing up and it was not argued, everybody accepted it, was Fedor. But Fedor had no ability for 3 belts. He was a heavyweight. I'll transition to use that as the argument for Jones. Jon Jones was a light heavyweight, perfect size light heavyweight, who moved to heavyweight, but there's nowhere else to go. Like, it's just not realistic that he could go down to 185. But we, the experts, should we be able to look at his skill set and then determine that if he weighed 185, he would capture the belt? Because if that's true, then we can't just discount somebody who's not given that same opportunity. It's one of these interesting things. Now, I want to go back to what Masvidal said, because Masvidal does not hand out compliments. As a matter of fact, I can't think of anyone Masvidal has ever complimented, aside from very few exceptions, but they were all his teammates. Like, Masvidal has publicly complimented Dustin Poirier. He has greatly gotten behind a number of times Bo Nickel, but he was training Bo Nickel. And he's good friends with Dustin Poirier, and they're all teammates. So when Masvidal comes out and says this about Ilia, I asked a number of guys behind the scenes. Chris Weidman was there, and Poirier was there, and Laura Senko was there, and Dean Thomas was there, and Aljo was there, and Michael Chandler was there. I asked there was a number of guys. And I said, hey, is Ilia Topuria as good as the media is saying? Have we seen enough from Ilia Topuria? He caught Volk. They had 1 completed round. He lost the round on all 3 judges' scorecards. He was losing the next round. He caught him and put him down. And the fight with Oliveira, was a first round. And yeah, he's got real heavy hands, but can he do that 20 minutes in? Like, I was just asking. I was just kind of, do we know enough about Ilia? He's a big star, but when you're talking about beating Islam, you've got to have a really unique skill set. You really do. Islam has an overwhelming wrestling heavy game, but he overwhelms guys. Not to mention the conditioning, not to mention the heart. Like, these are things that you can't go get. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad point, but there's a little bit more to it. And Islam kind of is like this piece. You know, you've got Ilia Topuria, and you've got this wild success, and he went up and he became world champion at 155 pounds. But the number one contender was in the front row. His name was Arman Tsarukyan, according to the rankings. The champion left the division. So there is a little bit of a question, and it's why I asked these guys, hey, is Ilia as good as everybody's saying? Like, is that what you're seeing? Do we have enough evidence? There hasn't been a time in the past where somebody beats Charles Oliveira and becomes the greatest thing ever. It didn't happen to Arman Tsarukyan, just for example. It didn't even happen to Islam. But it did happen to Ilia. And the 55-pound belt is a little bit tarnished right now. There is some real questions. When the number one guy, which is Arman, is not in the ring, it's a question. When the champion, who was Islam, leaves and Ilia is sitting out, it's a question. The belt is a little bit tarnished. Daniel Cormier had to live through this, and it was very hard for me as Daniel's friend to see this happen, but there was always an asterisk when he was the world champion. Would you be world champion if Jon Jones was here? And it was one of these things. It's like, well, that's not the way the game is played. We take all the people that are here and we figure out who's the best of them, but it's one of these things. But to finish the thought, in case anybody's curious, when I asked this room full of people, is Ilia as good as people are saying? Have we seen enough? Resoundingly and unanimously, they said yes. Yes, he is as good as they say. Yes, we have seen enough. No, there's no reason to believe that there's some boogie monster out there that's got a skill set that can beat Ilia. Tremendous compliment. Like, the way you're talked about behind your back when it's positive is rare. The way you're talked about by your peers is everything. Ilia's peers are saying how great he is. And now you got Jorge Masvidal. You can't get a compliment from Jorge Masvidal. George just gave Ilia as big of a compliment in this space as you can get.